Matt, you and Ed Werder do this podcast, very popular with the kids. The kids love it. And you text me from time to time, and you said this one was a doozy, the Doomsday Podcast. So what was after you lose to the Packers, what was the most intense subject? Because I think you're a common sense guy. The fourth down Mike McCarthy move didn't bother me. Didn't love the play call, but it didn't bother me. Was there anything in that game that you and Werder agreed with that really deeply bothered you about McCarthy, Dak, or the performance?
I would say that Dak's, much like Tony Romo before him, is always the biggest lightning rod. And I think there are people, boy, if you criticize him at all, some people will label you a hater. We've been huge Dak supporters over the years. Ed and I really liked him, even coming out of college and all that kind of thing. But boy, when you put that kind of performance out there, and then you watch Rodgers, who's been down this year, and he's got his own thumb injury, and how efficient he was, and you would throw a guy, you need a quarterback to take you to a different level and maybe help you win that game. And he throws 46 times. 2 picks. We can blame that on some of the receivers or whatever, but I mean, you can't be late. You can't be throwing in the middle of the end zone. So I would say always the quarterback is the biggest point of contention when it comes to the Cowboys and really anywhere in the league. But this particular quarterback, and you've seen it in talking about Dak, the fact that you're not the biggest Dak, it's not that you don't like the guy or think he's a good player, but the fact that you don't have him as a top 10 quarterback, some people label, well, he's a Dak hater kind of deal. And so this was the game where they really needed to win. I mean, they would be right there with the Eagles now, looking back with the Eagles losing. So I would think that's that was what kind of brought the most reaction. And also the fact that Ed found some kind of nugget that showed these numbers so far this year on 3rd and 4th down for Dak are awful. Tim Tebow-esque. I mean, his completion percentage on 3rd and 4th down, the most crucial downs, are somewhere in the neighborhood of 43% completion percentage. And it's embarrassing, and we got to bring back a guy who was known for being wildly inaccurate to have a comparison. And again, people react and they get angry in Dak's defense. And that's what Jerry was doing today. Jerry went on one of his radio shows and was immediately saying, this is the biggest reason we have to win the Super Bowl. I hear echoes of even the Romo era. When they decide to pay somebody huge money, they have to dig in and always go on the defensive. But I promise you, behind closed doors, Jerry is sitting there like, oh my gosh. I mean, I can't believe we had that kind of performance. Now, it wasn't all on Dak, but again, he wasn't special. He wasn't great. On a day it would have helped if he was really good.
Well, I was just saying this, that college football, remarkably, the average is 1 a year. College football in the 2020 draft gave us 4 franchise quarterbacks: Jalen Hurts, Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. 2021 draft, Matt, gave us Fields. Mac Jones has already made the playoffs, and Trevor Lawrence. That's 7 guys that look like they can be franchise quarterbacks in 2 drafts. And so I think the talent at quarterback, these kids are better now. They've got 10,000 throws by the time they're in 9th grade. They're in summer camp, 7-on-7 drills. The quality of the quarterback play in this league is getting better, faster. And I look at Dak. I said this today on my show. Younger, cheaper, healthier Dak was better than this Dak, because that Dak, you could surround him with better players. Now Dak is older, expensive, and more brittle. He hit his ceiling. He's Kirk Cousins, but more popular. He hit his ceiling in mid-year 2. Dak never had a huge ceiling. His strength was leadership, toughness, guile, mobility, winning. He hit that middle of second year. The more expensive Dak gets, the less you can support him with, I think the less you get from Dak. He's the rare quarterback. Kirk Cousins is this. The more expensive he is, you think you're getting a better version. The longer he's in the league, now Kirk's having a good year, Matt, but the more you pay Kirk or Dak, the less you surround them with, and you get arguably a worse version of them. Now, again, Cousins is having a very good year. But I look at Dak now and I'm like, well, because of what they pay him and Zeke, they can't get him a second and third great receiver. And Dak is left to sort of carry the offense. And he's limited. I think Romo is a far more talented thrower of the football than Dak. Is that an outrageous thought?
No. I think Dak just has uncommon leadership traits.
Yes.
And if this was about making speeches and talking after games and representing the franchise, and there is some of that component, but it's a quarterback that right now doesn't, like, when he has to go into a cold weather situation, doesn't perform particularly well.
Is that true?
Yeah. I think if you go back and you look at some of his performances over the last few years, and you look at this one, it's about 25 or 30. He looks very uncomfortable. There are times people will rally and tell you, well, it's ankle or whatever injuries he's had in the past. Now, we'll find out if he's brittle. The Cowboys push back heavily against that. But some of the things that made him really good early on was the fact that you could run him. Now, there were some moments in this game even where, like on in short yardage situations where he did use that girth. I mean, he's a big, strong guy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can use him, every once in a while they'll put some RPO stuff in, and it looks really nice. There are some throws he can make, but boy, late across the middle. I mean, think about that. CD ended up having a great game, 10, 11 catches for 150 yards, best game in a while. But I mean, you look at Jefferson with the Vikings. They're getting ready to play the Vikings. He's already had in 3 years like 20 times 100 yards or more. Cowboys had their first 100-yard wide receiver in like a year. I mean, it's been forever, and part of that has to go on the quarterback. Okay,
sure.
Everybody talks about Amari, and they do kind of miss him around here. But let's not act like he was just over and over and over 100-yard days. Some of these wide receivers, like the guy we just saw with the Vikings, what they did at Buffalo, are going to get you, no matter if you think Cousins is the greatest quarterback or not. This receiver they're going to elevate each other. He's going to make Cousins look great because Cousins can throw it up there, and this guy will make phenomenal catches. CD kind of wanders around sometimes, and again, you'll see these quarterbacks, and you know it, and Tony used to do it himself. When they go back over there and they're got their hands up, and the announcers are quick to say, bad route. Oh, bad route there by CD. But at some point, quarterback's got to take ownership of that. And he is a tremendous leader. I don't know if I would agree with you that he's brittle. And I still think, the best thing you can say about the Cowboys right now is this NFC doesn't look that great. Eagles kind of got exposed a little bit. I don't know if the Vikings are that great. There's a team that could break through here that's really not that awesome. And that's the greatest hope the Cowboys have right now. A kind of watered down NFC.
We all know professional athletes care about what they look like. And as you know, I care about what I look like. Right now, I've been wearing a lot of Cuts clothing. I love this thing right now. Every Cut shirt is designed to provide a perfectly tailored look. If you want a long sleeve Henley, no problem. A short sleeve crew neck, they've got it. Cuts has everything you want. And I've got all of it, and I wear all of it. Right now, 15% off your first order. 15% off first order by going to cutsclothing.com/Colin. Cuts, C-U-T-S. Look them up. I got a closet full of their stuff, and I love it. Okay, let's play a game with Dak. You said it. On 3rd and 4th down, he's been, in these high leverage situations, he's been poor. So let me ask you. We judge quarterbacks a lot of ways. But Matt, is it fair if I said 2 minutes to go in the game against a reasonably solid defense with reasonably solid receivers. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put quarterbacks out, and you tell me if you like that quarterback or Dak. There's 2 minutes to go in the game. All these quarterbacks, this isn't baseball. We don't care about stats. We care about winning games, high leverage situations, moving the chains, getting into the end zone, and winning games. That's what Brady does. That's what Mahomes does. So I'm going to put, and let's say they all have even talent. Okay, so Mahomes, Dak is an easy one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mahomes. Burrow, Dak, to me, is an easy one. Okay.
Yeah.
Recent struggles aside, Josh Allen, Dak, who would you choose?
Allen.
Okay, so let's get those three are easy ones. Those are easy. Mm-hmm. Okay, we saw it Sunday. Aaron Rodgers or Dak.
Yeah, still go with Rodgers.
Brady or Dak.
Brady.
Okay, we're at 5. I'm going slow. I don't want to rush the audience or you, Mosley.
No.
So we're at 5 down. We would take for sure. Justin Herbert or Dak.
That was close. I'd probably take Herbert.
Okay, we're at 6. Okay, Lamar Jackson or Dak.
Lamar.
Okay. So now we start getting into an interesting territory. Kirk Cousins or Dak?
I think I'd almost say that's a pick 'em, but I would go with Dak.
Okay, I would go with Kirk, who I think is simply a more accurate thrower. Consistently over his career, he's a more accurate distributor of the ball. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're at 7. So at best, you would have Dak. Now I'm trying to think of who am I missing here? Jalen Hurts or Dak?
Mm-hmm. That's a difficult one. Based on how he's played for much of this season, I'd probably lean Jalen right now.
Okay, so we're 9 through it. I am 9 for 9 over Dak. You're 8 for 9, Mosley. All right, let's see here. Who am I missing? Tua or Dak?
I'm going to go with Dak.
I'm going to go Tua simply because I think he's a more accurate distributor of the football. Okay, so you're 8 of 10. I'm 10 of 10. Okay. Now it gets dicey. Now I'm gonna press you a little bit here. Okay, Deshaun Watson when he comes back or Dak? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Watson. Okay, you're 9 of 11. I'm 11 of 11. All right. Ryan Tannehill or Dak?
Yeah, I would take Dak.
Okay, so that's my first Dak. So I am 11 of 12, not Dak. Tannehill, Dak, I'd take Dak. You're closer to 9 of 12 Dak.
Yes.
And by the way, you paused on Tua. You paused on Kirk Cousins. I like him simply because they're really high completion percentage guys. Let me throw one more at you.
I think you
Jimmy Garoppolo or Dak. Jimmy Garoppolo or Dak.
We kind of saw this last year in the playoffs. This is a tough one, but I would probably go with Garoppolo, just honestly, because he's been in bigger games and he's done it. He's made it happen in bigger games.
Yep, I'm 12 of 13. So I guess my point in this exercise was this. We love the leadership of Dak, but this league, this is not baseball where we romanticize numbers or basketball where flair and style matter. 2 minutes left, maybe one timeout, reasonably solid defense, equal weapons. Dak's like the 12th best quarterback in the league. 12, 13. He's paid like he's top 5. Mm-hmm. That to me is the rub. That's the problem.
And it's interesting because Romo, we knock him for not winning more playoff games. Yet, if compared to the people of his day, I think Romo would have fared much better.
Yes.
Now, if the exercise became like kind of what Jerry likes to bring up, who am I starting my team with, or who am I trying to start the season with, or who could I build around, I might answer it differently than just the 2-minute question. I mean, he does have it's remarkable, the intangibles, but they're now having to retreat and go back to trying to win with him to the era where you're talking about. Actually, his rookie season. They're trying to take a 28, 29-year-old quarterback and go back and recapture what he was at 22. It's a very strange thing. It doesn't happen with most quarterbacks because that was when Zeke was great, and that was when Dak, came in and they managed them extremely well. And boy, Garrett, that was the zenith of his time with the Cowboys. And so it's a very, very strange thing. You ask a guy who doesn't like being in charge of run-based offenses in Mike McCarthy to try to reverse time and take a quarterback back to who he was as a rookie. But that speaks to your point of, well, Dak was at his best. Now, I leave the ceiling open to him still doing something big with the Cowboys. And part of that is because nobody's great. Nobody's great this year. And it's kind of like, well, why not? Why not the Cowboys? Why couldn't they get on a roll? Cowboys are always on. I mean, it's like this thing could spiral. They could lose to the Vikings. They got to play immediately. And before you know it, they're sitting there 6-5. Are they going to be in the playoffs? Or they win Sunday, turn around and win again, and you look up and they're 8-3. They're great. They're chasing the Eagles down, and then they go into Eagles land with a chance to truly get back in the division race. I mean, this is the ultimate boomer bust team in the NFL right now. And there are probably several that we could identify, but I mean, I don't know that either. And so McCarthy's either going to get an extension or get fired. There's just no in between at all. And there's a chance this team makes it the NFC title game. And you know what people would do around here if they made it the NFC title game? They would treat it like the Super Bowl because it's been 26 years since they've been to an NFC title game. Like it wouldn't. People sometimes go, Cowboys are measured by Super Bowls. They aren't anymore. Like an NFC title just qualifying. You know how we beat up Aaron Rodgers? Oh, he can't do it. Only won one Super Bowl. If you could give Romo or Dak Rodgers' playoff record or Rodgers' accomplishments in terms of getting to NFC title games, I mean, every Cowboys fan would trade with him in a heartbeat because you know what he does? He gets you there over and over and over again, and there's something to be said for that.
Is Jerry Jones popular in Dallas? How's he viewed?
Well, yeah, he's popular everywhere. I mean, it's kind of like we got the most popular owners in all of professional sports. They're all down here. I mean, Cuban's the same way.
But Cuban's well liked, I believe.
I guess. I mean, there's Mavericks fans who would push back on that. He's more beloved outside than he is. Jerry is just sort of like everybody just has learned that they've got to put up with him. It's never going to change. The family dynamic is never going to change. And although he just turned 80, I think everybody understands that he'll be doing this till he's 96 or 97 years old. He's not. I mean, this thought of like, oh, Jerry's going to die someday. No, we don't. I don't buy into that. I guess he has to at some point, but I don't think so. I think people, Jerry is the perfect kind of Texan, and being a guy from Arkansas, he just fits in beautifully because people like kind of hucksters and funny, and he has all that. And so he just fits in beautifully with all the oil and all that stuff. So at this point, people are just like, it's never going to change. I mean, that doesn't mean people don't constantly, year after year, bring in somebody, let somebody else make the decisions. But so, yeah, I just think he's beloved by the media, maybe more than he is. Maybe that's the way to say it. Maybe more than he is actually from the fandom. The media, there's no relationship in all of professional sports like the one Jerry enjoys with local media here.
He furnishes you guys with good content.
Correct. It's constant. And it bothers, I should point this out, it bothers certain head coaches. Even though McCarthy doesn't have a huge ego, he notes it. I watched this happen after Cowboys games. He will watch and see who's late getting to his press conference because they've been out talking to Jerry. And he'll even note it. He'll say it, and he kind of does it in a little bit of a joking way, but he's serious about it. Because I think an old school Pittsburgh guy like him thinks, can you believe that people would be hanging out there talking to Jerry instead of in here talking to the head coach? But you go where the best quote is. You go where the best story is. And the coach is only going to be here for a short time. We know that Jerry's going to be here forever.
That's well put, Mosley.